Hello beautiful souls and welcome to my channel. My name's Ashley and I'm the Witchy Hippie. I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for quite a while now and I finally busted the courage to do that, so here I am. And I'm really excited because it's been a very rough few years, and now that 2020 is here, it's a new year, it's a new decade. I've just had a lot of changes in my life and I'm on a very new spiritual journey, and it's about self-discovery. Obviously there's a lot of spirituality involved, and I'm kind of becoming this new person that I never thought I could be. That being said, I really want to share with you guys a little bit about myself and my past so you can get to know me a little bit better, and also you can also understand where I'm coming from and why I'm choosing this whole new path in life. So I am born and raised in Canada from Toronto. Actually, I'm a little bit outside of Toronto, but I generally had a good childhood, a lot of positive memories, a lot of big lavish birthday parties, but I do remember being bullied quite a bit when I was in elementary school. So that was always rough for me, but otherwise, junior high school went pretty well. I think I went through a period where I might have been considered the popular girl, but it was for very superficial reasons. So for myself personally, it wasn't like a great thing. And I also moved to a new area when I was a teenager due to my parents splitting. So that was very rough for me, and I think that was a huge turning point in my life in terms of what I used to cope with the pain. So that being said, um, at a very, I don't want to say young age, but I'd say when I was a teenager, I did dabble into drinking a little bit, but that never became anything big for myself. I actually ended up turning to cannabis, and the reason I turned to that is because I did not enjoy taking medication. I absolutely hated it. I found that cannabis was very soothing in many ways, and due to a lot of health problems that I was experiencing, it just was a great fit to kind of help everything that I was going through. So I had a lot of irritable bowel syndrome, which caused a lot of anxiety, and I also had really bad period cramps, which in the end ended up being endometriosis. So for myself personally, cannabis just kind of helped soothe a lot of those physical discomforts that I was going with. Now, I was obviously going through a lot of emotional stuff as well, so it made me feel wonderful, and it kind of became my vice over the years, and I never thought there was anything wrong with it. Of course, it wasn't legal in Canada at that time, so I was doing it in secrecy. Also, it was very taboo, so I felt very ashamed of what I was doing, but it didn't stop me because I personally thought that it was helping me in the long run. So fast forward throughout my life, I really started to use cannabis very heavily as the years progressed, and by the time I hit 21, I had met my now husband. We've been married for close to 5 years now, together for almost 10, and things were getting better. I was very happy. I had, a lot of friends at the time, and a lot of these friends were people that I had accumulated over the years throughout high school, and everything just seemed to be going really great. And, I didn't feel the need to change anything about myself or about my lifestyle. I just thought things are good. I'm just going to stay the same. So that's exactly what I did. And I kind of stunted my personal growth for, I want to say, at least 7 to 8 years, and I really didn't feel like anything in my life was progressing or changing. And I also started to notice that my friendships were not as strong as they used to be. And when I mention this, I think we can all relate that when you have these friendships that you've had from like a very young age, whether it's from your childhood or from high school or elementary school, you kind of hold on to them for nostalgic reasons. And I definitely was doing that. I didn't feel any connections with my friends at the time, and I didn't feel like we were bonding, and we also we didn't have a lot in common, mostly because I was the only one out of all of my friends that smoked cannabis. And I was very ashamed and embarrassed, and I also felt very judged by them. I'm sure that my overuse of cannabis was something that they were not fond of. But that being said, I don't put any of my animosity towards them. It was just something that I was going through personally. So fast forward into my mid to late 20s, my husband and I made a decision together to ghost all of our friends. And when I say ghost all of our friends, I mean we literally ghosted all of our friends. And these are friends that we've had from childhood, from high school, and although it seemed like a very sudden and drastic thing to do, I felt like it was very necessary because we were kind of holding on to all these old parts of our past that didn't reflect who we were or who we wanted to be. So we kind of just wanted a clean slate, and that's just the choice that we made. And in the end, we're extremely happy with that decision. I think it was the best thing that we could have done for ourselves, and it really helped us focus on other parts of our life where we were trying to grow. So here we are in our mid-20s, mid to late 20s, and we are friendless. So we are basically focusing on our relationship and personal growth. And even though I had gotten rid of all my friends, I was now just a hermit sitting at home, working at the time, obviously, and smoking a lot of cannabis. And I, again, never felt like anything was wrong because it was helping me with my anxiety, my irritable bowel syndrome, and my pain from endometriosis. So it was very justified for me. But looking back, I do realize that it was very unhealthy how much I was consuming. It was very large amounts, and it was definitely taking a toll on not only myself, but my relationship. And speaking of my relationship, my husband, who is a fantastic human being, he has definitely gone through ups and downs throughout our marriage, and he has gone through a lot of awful things that he was unfortunately subjected to through family conflict. And this was kind of a turning point for him and his spirituality, and he really dove into that to kind of help get through a lot of the pain and depression that he was feeling. So he really started this whole journey probably 2-3 years ago before I even got into it. And I thought, you know, wow, that's really amazing that he's kind of taking life into his own hands and he's choosing to better himself. And I definitely saw him changing and improving. So I was very admirable of that, and I wanted to hop on the bandwagon with him. I just didn't know how to go about it. And he never once pressured me. He was very supportive about basically educating me if I had any questions, but letting me kind of discover it on my own. So I was very appreciative of that, and that meant a lot to me. So after going through a lot of unfortunate conflict through the family, it did cause a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and I ended up consuming even more cannabis because I was obviously trying to mask a lot of pain that I was going through, and I had spent so much time being high that I really wasn't experiencing or letting any of my true emotions and feelings surface. I was just kind of like suppressing them and burying them, ignoring them, and pretending like they didn't exist. So it was taking a toll on our relationship because my husband could really see the damage that it was doing to my soul and just my growth as a person. And he confronted me about it, and I'm so grateful he did because I feel like everyone else in my life that saw how my overconsumption was happening, rather than approaching me as a loving friend or saying, hey, I'm concerned, they would just kind of ignore me, and, you know, they weren't really involved. So I definitely took my husband's words to heart, and I made the decision in mid-December and December of 2019 to stop smoking altogether. And it was extremely hard because let's keep in mind that I had been smoking for 10 plus years, and I was doing it multiple times a day, and it was the only way that I knew how to cope. So the first few weeks were literally hell, and I'm still freshly into it. Let me just remind everyone, it's only been a little over 2 weeks, and I know it seems ridiculous to be proud of that, but I haven't gone more than a week without consuming it, and that's very embarrassing and shameful on my end, but I don't hold that against me in any kind of negative way, because I know that I wasn't doing it for malicious reasons. I was just, it was my way of coping. So having that time now to basically reflect, and I have a clear mind, I've just been very energized spiritually, and I've always, not always, but I've been really into crystals, and my husband does a lot of tarot card readings, and I've gotten into that. So that's been very important to me, and I just feel like I'm on a whole new journey right now, and I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I'm very excited. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are probably going through this new weird journey, and I just kind of want to share with everyone. And I'm really hoping that people can either relate, or they can follow me and, you know, even help me out through my journey. If people have any word of advice or encouragement, I'm always open for that. But overall, I'm here starting this channel to kind of share with you guys everything that I'm going through, and I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and I'm reading books, and I'm online, and I'm educating myself, and it's really exciting, and I want to keep learning more. I'm so excited to just learn more and share it with all of you guys. So without rambling on for too much longer, the point of this channel is basically just myself talking about anything spiritual, anything that has to do with personal growth, and I will be opening up a lot more about past trauma and my experiences, and just kind of hoping that some of you, and if any of you or one of you, can relate to my story. So I'm really happy that I kind of mustered up the courage to finally make a channel, because I've been saying for a while now on my Instagram that I want to make a YouTube channel, and I've never actually done it. So here I am today making my first video, and I'm very excited for you guys to come along this insane journey with me. And I really just want everyone to remember that, like, no matter how hard life is or what you're going through, there is always a moment in life where you can decide yourself that you want to go on a different path, on a more positive path, whether that's spiritually or anything. I really just encourage people to kind of take the time to step back and just listen to what your gut is telling you. And if you are, you know, using anything to cope with your trauma, whether that be drugs or alcohol or cannabis, there's a lot of help out there, and there's a lot of people that have been through that and have overcame it. So it's never too late. You can always better yourself. That's what I'm trying to tell myself, and that's what I hope you guys learn from this. And I look forward to going on this adventure with all of you. So I'm going to close it out here, because I know I can ramble on forever, but I just want everyone to know, be bold, be courageous, be fearless, be unique, just be you, and stay witchy. Thanks, guys.